Hello and welcome to the Entertainment Video Podcast. My name is James and I'm a photographer and videographer based in Greater Manchester here in the UK. My guest today is Peter Carroll, an actor, filmmaker and founder of the Manchester-based acting studio Thinking Actors. Peter has enjoyed a long and varied career, starting in radio before moving on to children's television and then later returning to radio. After spending time in New York studying the Meisner Technique, he returned to the UK and founded Thinking Actors, a Spotlight-accredited training, coaching and creative support service for actors. Viewers may also recognise Peter from his role as Rupert Copley in ITV's Coronation Street. In this episode, we discuss Peter's journey through the entertainment industry, through lessons he's learned along the way, and his passion for helping actors develop their craft. Before we begin, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe for more conversations with people working across the entertainment industry. Now let's jump straight into the podcast. Hello, Peter.
Hello.
Welcome to the Entertainment Podcast. Thank you for coming.
Oh, more than welcome. Glad I'm here.
We've started with an intro about you just a moment ago, but can you just tell me and the viewers a little bit more about yourself? Who is Peter Carroll?
Peter Carroll's a twin, for one thing, and he also used to work in television quite a bit as a showrunner in the States. I came to Manchester originally as a drama student and wangled my way into a bit of radio, BBC. Ended up doing warm-up on Saturday morning kids' TV. This is in the 80s, so we're going back a bit.
So is it Santis was, or
no? It was Manchester, so it used to get the kind of that summertime cast-off show, you know, and so it was the summertime type shows, you know. I think it was called It's Wicked. It was on briefly for, I think they did a season. It's very expensive.
Right.
It's when the BBC used to throw money at stuff, and then. I actually kind of segue into a bit on as me as a presenter, because I used to present, and that's what I wanted to do. And so I did radio, a bit of radio. The warm up led to me doing various things, and then when I was about 20, 25, something around about then, I was at Thames Television, and I'd just been shortlisted for, I don't know whether you remember Magpie.
Yes.
But it was the follow-up called Splash. God, we're going back a bit through and it was me and Nino Ferretto, and they rang me. I went back to a bed sit in London and waited for the coin box to, ring, and they said, "Oh, we've gone with somebody else this time." And I was sat at Thames Teddington train station, and I looked at my red shoes, and I just thought, I've had enough of this. And so I kind of temporarily left and ended up training as a teacher, and which I didn't want to do. But it turned out I was quite good at it, and did that for many years. But I always dabbled in TV. I was always doing stuff. So I ended up doing some... I'm thinking CV here through that. But so I ended up going to Granada, whilst I was teaching as well, and joining their satellite. So I did a travel show over there, and then the work was kind of drying up at that point, and I just thought, got to go really focus on my teaching. I did that for many years. Gratefully took redundancy
from teaching.
Yeah,
right.
And I knew immediately what I was going to do. I was going to launch Thinking Actors. I mean, it was an immediate decision, and I thought, God, I've been out of the industry for so long. And I've done all sorts. I mean, I was ITV's educational consultant at one time. I was just going through a box of stuff, getting rid of it. And it's like, oh.
I remember doing that.
I don't remember. It was, to consult with for their education content on certain shows. And so, yeah, I did all sorts, went into teaching, as I said. And then when I got the redundancy, to me, it was a new lease of life. I was worried. That's my train of thoughts. I was worried about where I'd land, going back into the industry and whether I'd be accepted. And it turned out to be really easy for me. And I was shocked about that. I thought it was going to be a struggle, but it wasn't. I think I pulled together everything that I knew and realised, actually, I know quite a bit. When you're teaching, the one thing they don't want you to know is your skill set.
Right.
Otherwise, you just ask for more money. and so I thought, God, I actually do know quite a bit here. And at that time, 10 years ago, self-taping for actors had just crept in, mostly in the States, but it was just creeping in to the UK. And I thought, yeah, I could do something here. I could coach actors, do some self-tapes with them. And right from the get-go, I knew that the one thing you have to do is throw money at yourself. You've got to throw money at yourself. And I don't believe in that mean kind of, thing, well, I can't do this because you do have to throw some money at yourself. And I went out and bought a load of equipment and set myself up. And it was just great. I was doing these self-tapes. I was working for auditions for Netflix and a lot of the streamers. And the one thing I knew from the get-go was it has to be of standard. And that was a contradiction at the time because a lot of agents and casting directors in the UK were saying, oh, just rattle them off. They don't know. Whereas now they're saying, oh, no, they've got to be of standard. Mm-hmm. And a little bit of advice for an actor out there that the one piece of equipment you do need is a microphone. And the one piece of equipment you don't need is a camera because your phone is good enough. But you do need a microphone. £16, those little capsular things on Amazon,
So like a lapel mic.
Yeah. And it's tough because everybody has to self-tape. And it's really tough. So, Thinking Actors is running, it's been running for 10 years. 10 years this month. It's gone so quick.
Time flies by. It's amazing, isn't it? I'll ask you a little bit more about thinking Actors later. But when did you first start thinking, I want to be an actor, I want to work in the entertainment industry? Did that come to you as a...
I'd always done amateur dramatics growing up, and I think I got a bit of a bug for that. But what I was really transfixed with was television and presenting. And so, as I said, I used to spend a lot of time at Granada, and I love Granada.
You mentioned Magpie. Do you still know the tune? Can you sing the tune?
One for sorrow, two for joy, three for a girl, four for a boy. That was made by Thames, but the Granada place, I was always there.
Of course, you forget that there used to be so many TV companies. Now they're all just one.
It's such a shame because I do think that all cities need regional identity, and I think that television gives you that. It gives that opportunity, And I think that's a loss, the fact that there isn't those individual identities. If you think about what happened when the Tube in the 80s went up to Newcastle for Tyne's TV, how it reinvented that whole concept of what is Newcastle as a city. And I think the industry's changed a lot.
So you've always done amateur dramatics. What age was you then?
From about, I'd say 11 up to 18, because I went and did a drama degree. And that's really after that, after I did my degree, that's when I kind of segued across into radio and some opportunities within radio and television as well.
So it wasn't any particular place in a film. You just knew you wanted to entertain.
I don't think I've never seen myself as an entertainer per se, but I knew that that's what I wanted to do. I think it was the creativity of it. It was the connection. It was the communication, and that's what I wanted to do. And I'd done, like I said, quite a lot of acting actually. But at that time, in the mid '80s, if you wanted to go into TV, children's television was a pretty good segue into things. And so it was working out okay for me. As I said, up to the point where, actually it was up to the point where the franchises went, when they got rid of the franchises, the Granada and the Tynes, they were all up for sale. And it was up to that point. And then I thought, this industry's changing so much. It's so insecure. And that's what, again, led me to retrain and do a postgrad as a teacher, drama teacher. And but I really enjoyed it, really enjoyed that job.
That was going to be my next question. Do you still enjoy it? Is it the creativity you enjoy? Is it the developing roles? What is it you enjoy about the industry?
Gosh, that's a big question.
As Peter Carroll, not as thinking actors.
It's working with people. It's meeting people, working with people. I mean, there's been doors opened, and I've been so lucky, I think, with who I've worked with. I love facilitating the creative process. I think that's really important. But it's the people I've met. Mm. And should I tell you a funny story?
Oh, go on.
I might have to drop a name, but I'll pick it up afterwards.
That's okay.
I lived in New York for a while because I trained at the acting studio in the Meisner Technique. And I got an invite from the Academy of Motion Arts and Pictures and Sciences to go to the International Emmys, which incidentally is, after you've had the invite, it's very, very expensive. Mm-hmm. You have to pay.
Oh.
It's not just a free ticket.
You don't get a limousine and four-star hotels.
No, it's mind you can write it off against tax. Just
businessmen there like that.
Just get rid of that one, yeah. It was a really good night. I've been a few times actually. It's a really good night, and it's a very boozy night, and you have a nice meal. And it had actually started the show. There were TV there, and it all started, and everybody was quite a bit sloshed by then actually. And I was on a table with German television, ZDF, and we were chatting away and everything. And then the next thing, they won Best International TV Series. Cameras come over and for Deutschland 83. And just a really good night. And then it just shows you about the connections you make. And then after a while, after a couple of months, I was back in Britain. And one of the actors reached out to me who lived in Berlin, who was American but lived in Berlin. And he said, I'm in this play. It's on tour around Europe, but we're in London. Please come and see it. And so I was in London at the time. I thought, I'll go and see it. And I'm not very good if people hand me bits of paper. In fact, I hate it. I hate people handing me bits of paper when I'm not working, because I'm handling paper
right.
all day, scripts and stuff. And it's like, what's this? And so I got this bit of paper and I scrunched it up and I put it in my pocket. And when I went into this venue, which was a huge church, almost cathedral-like, and I thought, what's going on here? And they said, oh, you've got a guest pass and you need to sit here. So they sat me down and thing, and everybody was quite packed, and they were coming in and saying, can I sit there? And they said, no, you cannot sit there. That's a reserved role. And then this couple came in, and then they sat next to me. They were allowed to sit next to me. And it turned out that it was the head of music at the Barbican, chit-chatting away. And at the end of it, one of the production people came over and said, would you like to come with us? We'll sort out transport in a second, but would you like to come to the Austrian embassy what's that really big place in London? I was trying to think if I'm terrible with names.
Buckingham Palace.
Not quite Buckingham Palace, but
to do with television entertainment.
No, it's very well where they have all the embassies, you know. And so I said, okay. And at the end of it, we went through the back of this building and everything. There was a limousine waiting. I got in the limousine. I thought, this is how people get killed, you know.
Taken away, never to be seen again.
Very easily convinced. And went right the way through in this embassy vehicle. And I had the most amazing evening in the company of John Malkovich, who was in the I'll pick that name up later.
I'm dying to know what was on the piece of paper.
It was an invite from the embassy.
Right. Meeting John Malkovich.
A reception at the Austrian embassy for John Malkovich. And he was in the play, obviously. And it was just really lovely to chat with him and find out about what he was doing, and him as a person as well was really interesting.
That's it, isn't it? I mean, we see the stars, we love what they do, but they are just normal people.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Completely.
Yeah, and as long as you approach them on that, your rapport will start straight away.
Yeah. That was a funny, peculiar thing, because I thought, my God, I'm meeting people. That was when about 8 years ago. So when I'd maybe done Thinking Actors for 1 year, 2 years. And I thought, this is amazing things that are happening and opening up. And I am an optimist.
I'm an optimist with a pessimistic streak. Or a pessimist with an optimistic streak. One of the two.
I think I'm a very grounded optimist. I quite like, thinking if something doesn't happen, it's for a reason, and but it was just wonderful, and it kind of like got me thinking about all these opportunities that I was creating for myself and for other people as well, actually. So a lot of my actors are working in television, and one of them sent me a really lovely note the other week, and he's in Emmerdale at the moment, and he started off with me, and in fact, the screen acting did. I also lecture as well, so I've been at a number of drama schools lecturing. So, yeah.
See, so you mentioned television work then, and before we go on to the next one, someone's been nasty about you, haven't you? About the role you're playing currently in Coronation Street. What was it the Sun said about you?
Yeah, well, cobbled together, isn't it? I mean, it's what was it? Slimy character makes a return to the street. It's a comedy character. It's very much is the way I play it. But it's lovely, In fact, I've been calling the character Rupert Copley, and I asked production, is it Copley? Because I have business cards and things, It's Copley, Rupert Copley, but I think it's a bit like Hyacinth Bouquet and Bucket, And but it is Rupert Copley, and I'm area manager of Rest Easy Undertakers.
I saw the clip where you went into your rivals and you were buying them.
I'm always trying to buy it.
Right.
Yeah. I'm always trying to get hold of Shuttleworth's Undertakers. Hey, do you know what? That's just segued into something now that you've mentioned Shuttleworth's. Gosh, we're going back in time a bit, but when I was a drama student, I bought something to show you. When I was a drama student, so I would have been, this would have been in 1985, I'd say.
Okay.
I needed an alarm clock, as most people do in their early 20s. I needed, something to make sure there were lectures on time.
Because you're no longer with mum and dad. They're not
longer with mum and dad. And so, being an adult, I thought, I'll go out and buy an alarm clock, Went to the Arndale Centre. And I remember going down the escalators in that thing in the Arndale. And right at the bottom of the Arndale, they had this stall that was set up. And it was selling. I look after this, apparently it's worth something. It was selling off the original bricks from the set, the original brick-built set. So it was. I think it was demolished in 1981, 82.
Right.
And they took all the bricks from the original brick-built set. They had a studio set first.
Yeah.
Then they bought the studio set, which was wood, outdoors. And then eventually they decided we're going to build a brick set in about, I think, the late 60s. So look what I bought.
Wow.
Now, I really shouldn't touch it at this stage.
Do we need gloves?
You do need gloves to touch it, I tell you. And look, look.
Did you just, I don't know all the old famous ones. You want to just hold it up to?
Yeah, look. So this brick is really special, and they're all catalogued. This is 966, and it was they what do you call it? No, they didn't sell them. They auctioned them off, type of thing, and you could pay these. All went to charity. So I ended up. I still haven't got an alarm clock.
I was going to say, how does that wake you up?
Well, this is the thing, because this brick reminds me of stories, and I love Coronation Street, and I love my television history. Actually, I really do, and it reminds me of stories, and so. again, it would have been about 8 years ago. So Thinking Actors was just getting on its feet. And I contacted their AJ, who does all the PR there for Coronation Street. And I said, you know what, I've got a brick and I'd really like it to go back into the set. I'd like it to be used in the set. And the timing was impeccable because they were just building Victoria Street, the where Shuttleworth's Undertakers is, and all of those. So I thought, oh, brilliant. And
is this at the new studio in Trafford Park?
Yeah,
right.
And so Kieran Roberts was executive producer at that point, and he thought it was a brilliant idea. And then it all fizzled out because Kieran left to go over to York, Emmerdale, and things. Just the problem with television is that people come and go, and I've still got the brick, but I'd have loved it to have gone back into the set physically. And at one point they were talking about having a recall of bricks. Has anybody got bricks from the Coronation Street set? Oh. So I keep this, but it reminds me of stories.
We'll keep that to one side then. When we get right our questions, we'll say, touch the brick.
Touch the brick. I haven't got any ideas. Oh my God, I've got a load.
I swear on this brick.
I swear on this brick.
Excellent.
And Coronation Street and Tony Warren. I was in a restaurant once with Tony Warren. And I was with a friend of mine, and she was sat where you are, and I was there, and Tony Warren was at the back of me, and all I could hear was, so I said to Pat Phoenix, and I said, who is it? And she went, don't know. And I thought, that's got to be Tony Warren. And then she was talking to a journalist. They left. The journalist went right round past the glass-fronted shop, restaurant. And he was there for about 15 minutes, and then he left. And I went, it's Tony Warren. I would have loved to have talked to him. I really would. He's one of my heroes, actually. And can I just say something about Granada? Sorry to go on about Granada, but I'm a bit annoyed about this. Have you been to Granada TV recently?
No, not for
It's
a long
really
time.
good. There's a place called Molly's that's taken over. And and Soho House, which is like a kind of actor creatives place, but very private membership. It's very expensive, actually. But they've redone all of that. And Sidney Bernstein, who opened Granada Television, which incidentally is Britain's first purpose-built TV studio. It's not the BBC television centre. It's Granada. He designed that. It was designed so that if television goes down the pan, they can turn it into a hotel. Mm. So surprise, surprise, it's now a hotel, and it's fantastic inside. But you know what they've done is, as you go in through the reception, and they've kept the reception really well. It's been very well renovated, and all the blue plaques have gone. So I'm on a bit of a mission, actually. I think those blue plaques need to be reinstalled. And Sidney Bernstein needs one. Tony Warren needs one. And they need to put back the ones for Violet Carson and Doris Speed as well. They need to put those blue plaques back because it's television history. Sorry, I've gone off on one. But it's so important that we don't forget what's gone.
I mean, when you do look back on the black and white Coronation Streets, they're so gritty. Do you feel as though it's the same now? I mean, everything has to evolve.
It does. And I think what's interesting about Coronation Street is they've done something really clever. Now, there's a thing at the moment that everybody's obsessed with. It's called to-screen. And what it means is that when you're watching a TV show, you can go on your phone and you can watch the TV show and you can follow it. It's not going to be an issue. Now, some people would say that's dumbing down, but it's not, because we've always done it. Shakespeare used, if you with patient ears attend what here shall miss, or toil shall strive to mend. There was a warning to say, listen, you've got to follow it, otherwise you won't be able to see what we're doing and understand what we're doing,
But we're touching there at, if it's not dumbing down, it's the industry trying just to make it so that they can sell it on, so it's not deep. The dialogue's simple because people are on the second screen.
Well, no, I mean, Columbo used to do it in the 70s. The 70s TV used to do it all the time. They'd have recaps and this and that. And They have the rule of triple, So what do you do with the gun? I put it on the table. What was the gun? It was in the. Everything's mentioned 3 times, so you're not going to, no, they don't do that in Coronation Street, but the episodes have gone down to 22 minutes, and that's really what it used to be. Right. And Hollyoaks did, so they actually crunched their. I know it's part of making reductions financial, but they reduced their episodes quite significantly, and that was also based on people cannot devote an hour 5 times a week to watch stuff these days. There's so much attention, demands on people's attention to watch stuff.
So it's not me just being a cynic saying it's so that they can put more advertising in.
No, not at all. So I think it's a really good move. And, and if people haven't watched Coronation Street for a while, I strongly recommend they do, because it's brilliant. It really is. I can say that objectively. It's brilliant.
Is it as good as EastEnders?
Now, I've worked with a few actors on EastEnders, and what I will say, and I know an actor who's in it at the moment very well, actually. EastEnders is brilliant. I mean, I'm not, they're all perfect to me, because the demands on actors, on script writers, on storytellers, is immense. The way they work, it's fast, and I've always found EastEnders to be brilliant. Although I do think, I did see a story once where somebody was pushed in a kitchen and fell on a carving knife in a dishwasher. I thought for 7:30 that was pushing it. Yeah, but it's great. They're all great. Emmerdale, fantastic.
You're bringing back soaps that I personally don't watch, but my late mother used to watch them all the time. She was an avid one. I'd come in and I'd go, this is depressing. Where's the entertainment value in this? So where do you think
I think the humour is very important. It's a part of life, and I know that my character, I only pop in just now and again, and but my character, there is a comedic nature to the character.
So your part is to lift it. So there's the
that
character you're playing at the moment.
There's an inherent comedy bubble within, and it's interesting because as an actor, I trained in the Meisner Technique over in New York, and you don't often get the full script these days, partly because of cutbacks, but some people would say, well, you need the full script, but you don't, because as a Meisner practitioner, you don't know what your neighbours are up to. And so you live in your story bubble. It's a story bubble. And, and so you're not really interested in what other people are doing, other characters, because you have a story bubble that you focus on.
Right. Just in case some of the viewers don't know, what is exactly the Meisner Technique?
Meisner Technique.
Meisner.
MEISN. Sorry, I'm terrible. MEISNER. It's fantastic. And I didn't get it at first. And it took me a while to click. But it's just amazing. It gives you permission not to do stuff. And what the Meisner Technique, and it works really well in television, I think. It's certainly in soaps. Where there's lack of rehearsal. You just go in, you're just doing it. It's very fast-paced. It's all about listening, but you listen with your eyes as well as your ears, and you pick up on behaviour, and you go off the person's truth. So it's all about people's bringing themselves into the role. Right. And cameras love to see people listen and process. And I also deal with the Stanislavski technique, which is also a method where you break down a script and you ask objectives. What's my objective? And the danger of a lot of television these days is you are rehearsing at home on your own. And I have tried to get friends in to read scripts with me, but it doesn't really work. And so you're rehearsing on your own. The danger is that you over-prepare. So you overthink, you imagine what it's going to be like, the set, the tone of the scene. And what Meisner does is it focuses on you knowing your lines really, really well, That's really very important. Know the lines really well, so that your task as an actor is to turn up and put complete focus and concentration on the world in front of you, and that's it. Nothing else matters other than the world in front of you.
So is this a technique that actors would use when they're preparing for a self-tape? They get the self-tape and then it's got to be done the next day.
No, I think you probably would start analysing the scene more.
Right.
Because often, I use Post-it notes sometimes if I'm to create eye lines and things. And so you wouldn't necessarily use that technique for... I tend to analyse scripts for tapes, unless it's for adverts, which you seem to... When you get adverts say television commercials, it's easy to say. When you get those TVCs that come through, and sometimes you just feel you're doing all the thinking.
Right.
I was wrapped in Christmas tree lights for a certain German telecoms company one year, and I thought,
this isn't going in the family album.
No. But it's...
So there's different... So you would recommend different ways of bringing the character forth, or whatever it is you're doing?
Depends what the situation is.
Right. So Robert De Niro wouldn't use the Meisner technique for a film or something.
Well, he possibly would, actually. The truth is about being present. And so rather than say... If I said, oh, and now you're going to walk over there in about 2 minutes, you're not being present, you're planning. You're planning what's going to happen. And it's about being open to the chops and changes of people's behavior and going off that and processing that, being seen. That's what a camera needs. It needs to see you process.
Right.
When we get out of bed in the morning, we don't... we're actually in a perfect place, because we're in our own headspace. We choose what we're going to think, what we're going to
As you slowly come back to life.
As you're slowly coming back to life. The rest of the time is people knocking on the door, sending you an email, a text, asking you questions that pulls you out of that space and makes you respond in the moment. So as an acting coach, I work a lot with what's called circles of attention. The idea that camera likes to see those shifts from your own headspace into somebody else's.
So when you go on set, where do you leave Peter and when do you become the character? Are you the character just as soon as someone shouts action, or?
You become alive. Action means, incidentally, I always said this, action means act, not necessarily speak the first line. You must always create your environment. And also, that's what it's saying about it, that again, the Meisner Technique is about provocation. What makes you say?
What makes your character say that?
Yeah. And it's the world in front, or somebody says something to you. Otherwise, the perfect sense of being is silence. I'm kind of one of those people that I quite like silence, and I'm very good at protecting my time. It's taken me years, incidentally, to do that. So, for instance, I don't answer emails now at weekends. I'm thinking of putting a message on the bottom of my emails, but people are so oversensitive these days.
I will be out of office at weekend.
Do not contact me unless something catches fire. Because you've got to protect your time.
Yeah.
And
because we're all time poor.
Yeah, and sometimes you're doing something, and then somebody will snatch the time away, and you've lost the time of what you wanted to do or focus on. And so I am very protective of time. And you do get self-tapes in very last minute. I've got a brilliant agent, I've got to say.
Do you want to name your agent? Because if he or she's listening.
Sam Simmons at Pip Talent, Pride in Performance. She's brilliant, and she is on it 24/7.
I think she's just found you a brilliant role now that you've mentioned it.
Yeah. I think from a coaching point of view, and I have to say that usually around about January, a lot of actors panic and they start saying, oh, I'm looking at changing my agent. And I pick up a lot of that from actors. They say, what advice would you give? And my advice is, if you're really uncertain about your agent, is to go and ask for your submissions list. You know, what are they putting you forward for? And does it tally with the vision that you have as well? Because it's a relationship you have with an agent. And I've never asked for my submissions list. And there's a really good reason that I know my agent works, and Deb's as well, works so hard. They really do. And I sometimes I get the impression that actors aren't really aware of what an agent does in the background.
Oh, we get it. It's not purely transactional. So we're getting back to the part where an agent is a person as well.
Yeah.
And they're hopefully working for...
They don't get paid unless you get paid.
Right.
They take 20%. And so a lot of agents, there's so many that work so hard to get actors work. And having that relationship and that support is really, it's so helpful. And a good agent will visualize, they've got vision as to what you do, what you don't do, because that's one of the secrets of acting. Nobody does everything. You know, you.
Well, the industry relies on so many people doing something.
Yeah, you know, and also, actors have casting types, and that changes. And sometimes you've got to be wary that as you get older, your casting type will change.
I'm going to ask you about that, but going back to the agent, who finds who? Do you find the agent, or does the agent?
Oh, I've got a tale about that. Oh my God, I was thinking about funny tales, and I've got a bizarre tale to tell. I was having lunch with an actor friend of mine who was in the Bay, and I'd just gone back on Spotlight, and because I thought I think I'll go back and do some acting. I've done a lot of reading in, a lot of acting, you know, with thinking actors and the coaching and the lecturing, and I thought I'd like to go back now and do some acting. I think I've got the time, and I've got I think that's the luxury of getting older, actually, space. And so I said to her, I think I'll go on Spotlight and see if I can get an agent. And she said to me, well, my agent would be really interested in you. And I went, do you think so? This is on a Friday. And so I said, well, okay. Now, she named her name, and I had heard of her. I didn't know of her, but I'd met her very briefly, this agent. And so I said, right, on Monday, I will contact her. Monday's never a good day to contact anybody in this business. They're just recovering from the weekend.
The week's getting small. You can't do weekends.
Can't do the weekend. It's only Wednesday, really. That's the sweet spot. Is a Wednesday.
Wednesdays, right? I remember
Not
that.
Friday, because you want to clear their desk. And
go for a drink.
And go for a drink. So I said, right, well, okay, I'll do that on Monday. And then on the Saturday, I'd brought in a guy to run an improvisation workshop for me. And so he was doing this 4-hour workshop, and I'd set it up, introduced him. It was running. So I thought, what can I do? I'll go to the art gallery. And so I went to the art gallery, with art gallery. And when I was there, it was really busy for some unknown reason. And I'm not good. I'm not good in supermarkets when it's busy. I'm not good in art galleries when it's busy.
Everyone's quiet and ignoring you.
Yeah, well, it's just, you know,
crowd.
Yeah, you can't get and see things, and so I thought, right, I've had enough of this. So I got my speed walk on, and as I was speeding at the art gallery, somebody shouted, "Peter!" When I turned around, it was Sam, my agent. Well, my now agent. And I said, well, I'm just going back. I was going to contact you on Monday. And she said, well, could we have, first choice? We're really interested in representing you. So I looked around the art gallery and I couldn't see any more agents. So I said yes. And she's brilliant.
Excellent.
She's absolutely brilliant. She works so hard. And very grateful, very lucky.
Just before I prompted you about your agent, you mentioned character types. So what character type does Peter have? And is it one you like?
I do enjoy doing comedy. So comedy is very much something that I do enjoy. I'd like to do something that was quite more detective type thing, roles.
Like a Columbo? Or Poirot?
I do speak French.
Je parle français.
It's not Danish. Belgian. So difficult because I've done, you tape for things, and I've taped for all sorts of projects, really big projects, and there's roles I didn't get that I came close to getting. Better not mention them, actually.
Is it a role that you felt?
Oh, I loved it.
It
was comedy. Well, it was comedy, and it was for a certain network, actually. And do you know when you do something, you think, "Oh, I'm really pleased with that audition," and I had recourse for it, and I thought, yeah, I enjoyed that role. I thought the script was amazing. Very difficult to get good comedy scripts, and somebody else got the part. They were brilliant at it, and but I don't know whether. Because I came close on that, I don't know whether, because I got considered for Coronation Street to go in as Rupert Copley.
Is that bitter? Because you thought, I'll be good at this role, and then you see that someone else has got it and they're brilliant at it. Or good.
No, not at all, because the one thing I've learned, and again, this comes with age, is that you cannot control everything. And I'm a natural control freak. I have to know what's going on. But you can't control everything. And some things you have to let go of. And some things you're just not responsible for. And it's taken me a long time to learn that. And so it's about letting go. Because, there's so many factors in auditioning and casting. There's so many factors. And what I regard auditioning as is an opportunity to check in with casting. And if casting directors are asking you back, then they like your work. And I was speaking to an actor the other day, and he said, "Oh, I'm not, he was reluctant to say he was an actor." And I said, "But you're auditioning, you're on Spotlight. The job is really, it's auditioning, getting yourself out there. And now and again, a piece of gold is thrown at you. And you've got to kind of make the most of it. But it's about keeping positive, being resilient to knockbacks, which it's inevitable."
This is actually quite good because it's leading to, you've told us some great tales already, but what is it you don't like about the industry?
I think, again, it's something that you've got no control over. It's last minute castings. If castings throw something last minute, it's because production have given it to them last minute. And so it's often last minute stuff. What else don't I like? I think doing tapes and not necessarily getting feedback on those tapes. A good agent should give you feedback. My agent gives me feedback. Sometimes it's ruthless. But I know her heart is in the right place.
Have you got to build contacts and friendships? And
so I think networking is good.
So what if it's someone you don't get on with personally? Or
I'm sure some people don't get on with.
I've never heard a bad word.
I am sure. I'm not really affected by anybody else, to be honest. I do my thing, and I'm secure in what I do. And so there's, again,
So is there anything you would change about the industry? Something that you feel is a minor inconvenience or negative at the moment that you would think it would be better if it was done this way or that way? Or so obviously if you could get
really
castings
tricky.
earlier.
What would it change about the industry? It's actually to do with education. So going back to education, I think there's a lot of degree courses, filmmaking courses that students aren't told how to treat actors and respect wider talent. Again, last minute castings, generalized castings, actress wanted. And I think that needs to be looked at.
But who's doing that? Is that the production, the director?
This is in education mostly, and young people coming through. So the filmmakers, directors sometimes, but appreciating what everybody brings to the mix and being fair to people. There's an awful lot expected of, do this for free. And there's a big difference between working for free, which is illegal, and collaboration. And so, I just think it starts with the next generation and being respectful to actors, not making demands on the last minute.
So you'd like everyone to understand the role that everyone plays, because it's a team effort, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
From the cleaner, the cameraman, the director.
Do you know when you're on set, it's really quiet. You don't get the feedback you think you're going to get, and that can be very unsettling. But it's done for a reason. The sound people are listening to the sound. The makeup are looking at, is your hair right? Lighting's looking at shadows on your face.
So everyone's blank, but they're concentrating on what they're doing.
Yeah, I always remember I worked on a show for Granada many, many years ago. I think it was called Medics. It would have been in the 92, something like that. And it was shot on film. It was really expensive. And I better be careful.
No, let it all out.
Just wipe my neck in a bit. But when it was, when they looked at the rushes at the end of the day, it was in a pub. We filmed somewhere really, it was quite a rough place where we were filming in Manchester. I think it might have been where the Velodrome is now. And it was, in fact, I was in makeup, and the makeup artist said, when I got here in the morning, I looked at the curtains in those flats. I thought props had put them up. No, people actually live here. And what was I saying about this story about? I'm terrible for going off on tangents. But there were coffee cups in the back of the shot in the pub, and he went ballistic, But it taught me as a filmmaker myself, because I'm film stuff, always look in the background. You never know what's lurking. A wire from somebody's neck, a tripod. I've had that.
It can't be fixed in post.
It can't be fixed. Yeah, So, but yeah, I think what could be changed about the industry. It's just being fair to actors. I worry about actors who, new graduates who graduate and then are kind of left. And I think the best thing actors can do is network, get involved in things, find out about. I went to one in Manchester, actually. It's from a London company that had come up to do it, but it's quite good in the Northern Quarter. And you meet all sorts of people, but it's just getting yourself out there and letting them know what you do. There's no point in being a great artist that paints pictures if you're going to drop dead and they're in the attic. You've got to get out there and do things.
So what networking events do you go to? I mean... Do you just blitz what you can when you've got the time?
There's one at 53.2 Theatre. There's a lot going on there, 53.2 Theatre. And they run the independent, it's IFC on Facebook, Independent Filmmakers Collective. I don't know what it stands for, actually. But they run one every month, really good. It's very well organised as well. It's about, I think, getting on social media. And Eventbrite as well actually lists quite a few often. Home Arts run one. Lovely woman called Isabelle Croissant. She's French. That is her name.
Madame Croissant.
Madame Croissant. She's very French, and cigarettes and everything. And she's brilliant. And I was on the short film panel there for the programming team for something called Filmed Up. And Filmed Up's a great opportunity to see what people are making, what short films people are making, and to go to the screenings and stay in the bar afterwards and have a chat with the directors and so that's every 3 months, I think, Filmed Up, and really great night run by Isabelle Croissant. And I definitely go to those. It's free as well.
Right.
I usually disappear in the summer. I always have a month in. Segue off to sunshine. But yeah, lots going on.
So spotlights are given that you're on there.
Yeah.
What other social medias? I mean, you're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, rather.
It really annoys me, actually, because if I could afford it, the first person I'd get in is somebody to do marketing, because I spend hours doing it. Hours.
Do you have a different voice for each one?
Not particularly. I might target. I pay for targeting certain demographics.
Is that for thinking actors rather than
for thinking
Peter?
actors?
Yeah, okay.
Peter's got a separate. I've got a separate thing as an actor. So I use Instagram a lot, and I'm on X, which is brilliant. I've never seen anything negative on X.
Well, you don't follow the people I do.
Well, do you know, it's interesting because I'm quite subversive like this, but do you know when everybody left X, I thought it was a perfect time to join. That's how I work.
Right. Your reasoning being?
If they're going, I think I want to know for myself why.
Right.
Because I like to draw my own conclusions. And I've never had any problems with it. It's brilliant.
I do like it when you follow someone on one platform and another, and they've got a different voice for each one. They don't just the same.
Yeah.
Because then that's spamming into.
Yeah, it is.
So you're also on LinkedIn. What do you find useful on LinkedIn for actors?
I've kind of beefed up my LinkedIn, and only because directors are on there. Not all directors, but quite a lot of directors are on there. A lot of creative talent. I've been offered work from LinkedIn, and it's a different voice again. It's a more professional voice.
It's a grown-up Facebook.
Yeah, you don't discuss what you had for tea or anything like that. It's very quite focused. I've got to say it's the worst to use because it's very poorly designed across different platforms, on your laptop or your phone, or it's always different. You can't go on and do something instantly with it. But I do find it really good to use, very productive. And it's just about letting people know. It's about I think a lot of this is about creating noise to let people know you're alive.
Because we're getting back to that actor, that painter in his little garret.
Oh yeah, I think one of the things about acting is there's no sell-by date on it as well. Actors always panic. You get people at 23 and they say, "Am I too old to go into acting?" Like, are you kidding me? I'm in my mid-60s and I'm still going. It's like you've got to keep going, and you've got to find the opportunities. And as I said, your casting type changes, so the parts are different. And I'm doing some direction next week. I'm filming show reels for actors this week, and I'm going to do some of my YouTube channel.
Oh, right.
Which I thought, because commissioning's changed, and I think that this business of putting yourself out there is really good. I think it's being encouraged. At one point, they'd have said no. They really would. And people are more, actors are more savvy with how they use it. You don't talk. The golden rule is really to steer clear of politics.
Politics, religion, and sex.
Oh, sex is good, but but politics is definitely, you should steer clear of it.
It can be an instant turn off.
Oh yeah, and victimhood. I'm too keen on that. Yeah, as I said, I'm an optimist.
So, do you recommend to actors in general and the people that come to your thinking actors that they self-promotion?
Oh God, yeah,
and
absolutely.
That you would expect them to have their own social media
to a
YouTube.
standard. It's not an experiment. I always say your career is not an experiment, because I think you've got to put stuff out that's good. Don't put stuff out that's badly filmed. Put stuff out that shows you in a good light, because that shows you can act. Do you know on Spotlight you can put monologues on, and again, 7 years ago, casting, some agents would say, "Oh no, don't do that." In fact, they used to say this: "Oh, if you put a monologue on, it doesn't show you can act." Wrong. It does show you can act. It will also show if you can't act. People are reluctant to use that Zoom space, that 16 by 9 box.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can act in that 16 by 9 box and work the frame, I won't go into it now because it's a little bit technical, but if you know how to work the frame, you can show you can act. If you're caught listening with your eyes and ears, you can show you can act. If you just jump through the words like a stream of consciousness, that will show you can't act.
Is this the X factor? Has everyone got this?
Has everybody got the X factor?
If someone comes to one of your classes and they've either got it or they haven't, can you still work on them so that they can?
You can, yeah. But ultimately, you facilitate people's truth. And so it's very difficult to say who will be cast, for instance, ultimately, because it's people's truth. Thinking Actors is absolutely jam-packed at the moment. It's doing so well. It was difficult after COVID. I didn't get a penny, incidentally.
Mm. As a photographer, I'm still bruised from COVID.
Yeah, it's been very, very difficult, and we're just seeing things picking up again, and the industry itself. I was judging the Sheffield University's Film Society's short film things at the weekend. I met with this guy. He used to be in the Screen Yorkshire. He used to do Screen Yorkshire, which is big, facilitating filmmakers and things, just locations. And we were saying that things are really picking up across this platform of Liverpool, Manchester and Leeds,
So you've been in the industry for a number of years now. Have you ever been given a particular piece of advice that you've followed and you keeps with when it comes to a sticky moment and you remember something that?
I think the important thing is if you forget your lines in this business, just stand still. These clips, these outtakes, and
bloopers. Bloopers.
No, stand still. When you're on set, the people are lighting you, they're doing things, so keep still. Let people do, we talked about it, let them do what they do to make everybody look great, I think the thing that's enlightened me as an actor and really put a match to the flame was that I was really fortunate. I was in New York for a while and I trained with James Price, who trained with Sanford Meisner himself at the acting studio. And he is amazing. He's amazing. And he said to me, you won't get it. It'll take a while before you get it. One day it'll just click and you'll get it and you'll go, yes, I know, I understand. And he's very New York. And I got it. When I got the Meisner Technique, and he's the person, I don't have a big list of people that I admire. I always feel, is that wrong? At my age, should I have a big list? But he's on it. James Price is on it. And, he runs a tough class. And what he did was, I'm never one to pick things up instantly. I was in, I'm going to say it, but it was remedial class when I was at school. It's really the bottom sets, And so I've never got things instantly. Sometimes, like skiing, I had to do it and go away and think about it. And then when I come back, I've usually got it. And the Meisner Technique was like that.
Well, we're all on a spectrum.
Oh, God, especially actors, I've certainly got a dose of ADHD, as you probably found doing this. But yeah, it's been lovely. The journey that I've been on with Thinking Actors has been incredible. And but it is at the core of it. It's the people you meet. I focus on the Meisner Technique. I work a lot with Stanislavski, method acting.
So it was James that brought you to the Meisner Technique?
Yeah, right. Which I'd never heard of before, and really enlightened me. It's often some of the things are done wrong in the UK. There are rules about it. Sometimes some of the exercises can get a bit out of hand, but if that happens, it's usually because they're not doing it right. Mm. And so to go, get it from the horse's mouth, so to speak, was really, really good, and I just enjoyed it. And still, I love New York. I wish I could afford to go back.
So that's an advice that you've kept. What advice would you give to someone as Peter?
Yeah.
If there was a young actor coming up and he or she is struggling, what advice would you give them?
Yeah. Create content, but make it good. Mm. But create content. I really firmly believe this. Social media is not a place to show experimentation in a way. it's just not, because people they're like vultures. They'll be right in there. Well, I've done this, and everybody in this business has an opinion, myself included. And it's like, just put stuff out, be seen. I can think of 2 actors on who use X, and they just did all of these little comedic things that were, absolutely amazing. And they get cast from it. It draws attention.
Right.
And because it's good, the writing's good, the characters are good. And so I would do that. And also I would network. I don't think there's enough emphasis placed on that. And I think in some drama schools, they're not encouraging it enough, that you need to go outside of the gate of where you're training and go out and meet people. And what I'd also say, you don't always understand this when you're in your 20s, but it's not a rush. It's not a rush. There'll be something there for you. And a really good friend of mine who I've known for over 30 odd years, she worked for the NHS, a very stressful job, and trained as an actor in the 70s. Always done a lot of amateur dramatics, really good actress. And when, again, she left, and I said, look, I've got a workshop running with somebody from ITV Casting. Do you want to come in? And she did. And she got that spark back, did a couple of classes with me, and went into the Bay. And I must tell you, I thought I had no funny stories, but the thing is that she was casting a scene with me for Coronation Street. And I was stuck in traffic in Leeds. Sorry, I'm not going on. But I was stuck in traffic coming back from Leeds. It takes 3 hours on a Friday night from Leeds. Absolutely ridiculous. And I was lecturing over there. And it was raining and the windscreen wipers. And my lovely agent rang and said, are you available in, February, March? And I went, yeah, okay. It's for Coronation Street. They'd like you to come back and reprise that character. And I thought, fantastic. And so you have a window, many months later when I thought this isn't going to happen, because things can change in television. It's just happened, things change. And it turned out my really good friend that I'd known for 30 odd years was sent a script to audition with. And she said, you're in the script. So that was the first I found out I was going back. And it was lovely working with her.
Did you have an instant rapport then? Because she's a close friend.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But also I think it was good for me because I could put any nervousness, because they're really good at ITV at looking after you. But when you're thrown into a machine and you don't know where those whirling parts are going to land, it can be a bit rabbits in headlights, and I found that going back, I was far more set. I was just settled into. I knew what was going to happen, and I kind of helped her as well. So the focus was on her.
Is that experience? I mean, because you're not 20 now,
yeah.
So you're not this green.
Yeah, and
actor.
also it's like I don't have control of everything. I don't control the choices of shots. I don't control the this or that. That's wonderful, actually, working with on Coronation Street, because you work with different directors.
Have you ever thought, I wouldn't do it that way? Would that camera be better over there or something like that?
I did think I would do it that way when I was last in, because the director, Kevin Boyle, was lovely, lovely guy. Lots of Liverpool people on that show, of which he's one. Lovely guy. And his background, I'm always interested in what people do because it feeds into what they do now, everything. But he was a camera operator for many years. And the scene we were doing was very complicated and complex, this blocking of it. And he filmed it. I thought, yeah, I'll do that. He was really methodical and thorough. And I like that. I like that thoroughness. And but they're lovely. Everybody's really lovely.
So you mentioned it a few times now. Let's move on to thinking actor. Mm-hmm. What is thinking actor?
Right. The name has worked out better than the original concept, because a friend of mine who runs a business, I said, I'm going to set up an actor training thing, independent. And he said, well, really good advice is don't spend too long thinking up a name. So I got I can't speak today. I got the thesaurus out, and I only got as far as B. And I thought, oh, I can't do this. Because I was looking for names, you know, for the company. So I threw that. And I just went thinking actors. And actually, that's worked out really good, because the one thing the camera needs to see is you think and process. And I worked with an actor who's very well known. I won't drop her name because there's enough on the carpet already. And she was making a film for Disney. It was, but she's very well known. If she walked down the road, everybody go, oh. But she said to me, I'm really worried.
I'm going to put lots of pictures up so people can guess who it is.
But she said, I'm really worried about, oh no, don't do that. Don't say it begins with and do that, because I always fall for those games. It's really bad. But she said, I'm really worried, because sometimes a director will come in and might say, you know, can you do a bit less? Just do a bit less. And actors, it's like one of the notes that worries them more than anything, do less. And she said, I'm really worried I'm going to be wooden. And there's no possibility whatsoever in the world that you will be wooden on camera if you have inner monologue and thought. And one of the exercises I give my actors to do quite early on is to just prop a phone up against a window sill and just hold different thoughts for 30 seconds, happy, sad. Think of a memory, a happy memory, a bad time in your life, a good time in your life, and film yourself. There's something magical about cameras that will pick up that essence.
So no dialogue, no soundtrack, nothing. Just...
Yeah. And as long as you've got inner life, inner thought, that's the performance. That's the performance. The rest is about what that world in front of you provokes you to say or do. It's really important. And again, it's going back to the Meisner Technique, and one of the things that he felt was that actors are too self-conscious. And, you know, the worst place to be in when you're acting is you're in a scene and you go, what's my next line? If you hear that voice in your head, it's wrong. It's going to be bad.
Because you're not the character then.
And you're not present in the scene.
Right. Because the character would know.
Yeah, there's no life. Whereas if you are present in the scene, you're going off the behaviour of people in front. You're using your eyes and ears to pick up on the tone of their voice and what they're doing. And those lines will be facilitated. You don't even, if you put the Meisner Technique in full practice, if we were in a scene and we both had a script, the first thing I would do is ignore your lines and possibly isolate my lines. So just write out my lines and just rattle them off. Just learn my lines. And again, I don't know what you're going to say until I turn up and you say it. So it's all about this being present. So why do I need to know what you're going to say? It's going to take me out of the present moment. And does that make sense?
So if you get given a character, do they have to know everything about the character? You know, his background story.
It's very useful.
Right.
It's very useful. But just because it suggests something doesn't mean to say it's nailed down. Because the essence of you is the most important thing. You bring something of you to it. That's what casting's about. It's finding what you bring. It mightn't be on a piece of paper. It might be quite unique. Quite a few actors in this area I've taught from they were 11 even, you know. And one actor who ended up as part of a family in Coronation Street many years ago. When they audition for a family, they're looking at the dynamics of it and how people interact with each other. So they might do some improvisation possibly to see if those dynamics are alive, you know. And they said to her, so we're going to put you into this scene, and it was with the other actors who were up for that role, and to see what they would do, and there's some sort of trouble that's been caused in how you'd interact. And all the other actors, when they said, okay, so off you go, all the other actors created big scenarios. Oh, I've cut my arm. Oh, you know, I'm really angry at you, blah, blah, blah. And she took a chair and she took it into the corner of the room and sat there. And eventually, one or two of them noticed and came over. And being brave enough to make those choices is what acting is about.
And is that something you teach at Thinking Actors?
Yes, because the essence of you is your unique selling point. There's a guy called Ross Grant. You should try and get him on your podcast, actually. He runs...
I'll write his name now.
I can't believe I'm plugging him in. But he always says something, and it's absolutely true. And some people may roll their eyes, but it doesn't take away from the fact it's the truth. There's no competition in acting.
You're going to have to explain that one for me.
What you do, nobody else can do.
Right.
Nobody else can do or be you. And so you bring something to the party that's very different. And I think when actors value what it is that they do that's them and different, it kind of enriches you. It's very liberating.
Is that getting into like the character that you're casting type?
Yeah.
Right.
You know, you're casting type, what you do. I talk a lot about emotion and the avoidance of casting a pick up on this, but the avoidance of demonstrative emotion. So demonstrative emotion is, for instance, in a scene, if you were auditioning for a scene and it was a really sad scene, you just had upsetting news, you might cry. That is demonstrative behavior. It's saying, this is a sad scene, I am upset, therefore I'm going to cry. But what's far more interesting is emotional pushback, because in real life we spend all our time trying not to shout, not to cry, not to run around the room and wave our arms. And so it's the pushback. And you can shout and cry if it's provoked enough.
Right.
It's like that scene I always use that scene from Alien. I've done it with young students, actually, and they've always gone, what, Alien? I said, you need to look at some classic films.
It is a classic as well, the first one, yeah.
And it's where John Hurt has been impregnated by that alien thing and he recovers. And he sat having breakfast, as John Hurt does, and the next thing, this monster breaks through his chest wall and scuttles around the room. That's emotion. And it can scuttle around the room.
Mm.
But the pushback's important. You're on the verge of tears. You may or may not cry. And actors feel acting is about demonstrating emotion. It's not. Because sometimes you can cry on the inside, and that's more interesting for camera.
So two different actors, or X number of actors, would do it differently. I couldn't imagine anyone else doing that scene that John Hurt did. Mm. Could you imagine it being played differently?
That's what casting's about. It's finding about that unique selling point, that unique approach.
That each individual actor has.
Yeah. You know. What the biggest thing is being seen, taking in the world around you. And one of the differences with theatre compared to television or film is that I often work with stage actors who play a game of tennis with lines. So you say something, I say something, you say something, I say something, you say something. This business of the lines exist because you're made to say them is so important, but it's... You think about things. You've got to be seen processing it.
Mm. Don't be robotic.
Don't be robotic with lines. Listen to what's being said to you. Take it in, process it. And is it provocative enough to say your line? And theatre actors, if you look at a lot of theatre, you know, it is about bat and ball with lines. By the nature of it as a medium, as an art form, but
because you can imagine if you're doing a run and you're there night after night after night, how do you make each night
fresh? Yeah. I mean, theatre, very different. Television needs to capture the actor processing and thinking. The audience are too far away in theatre to often get that. There's a lovely thing that Stanislavski does. It's called A Place of Solitude, and it's where you just get caught on behaviour. So, for instance, if I've lost my keys, my obsession would be to find my keys. And so anything to do with behaviour is good. when you're doing a self-tape to bring in behavior is good. So I'm going to talk to you, but at the same time, I'm just looking for something. So bringing in something that...
so the audience knows what's in the... Look, you're looking for something as well. You're bringing them into it.
Do you know what? I'm really bad at maths, and I always give out this maths analogy about acting. See if I can get it right. Here's bad acting. I hope people don't think I'm crazy on this. 2 and 2 is 4. Here's good acting. 2 and 2 is...
Holding the moment there. You want me to say 4?
You've answered the question. You've got to give the audience something to do.
Because we're joining in.
You're joining in.
Right.
I love Greek theatre, ancient Greek theatre. Absolutely love it. And in the days, I did a load of resources for Exchange Theatre, actually, on Greek theatre. In the days of... they used to have this festival of God Dionysus, which is all really religious, the god of wine and theatre. And they'd have these tragedies, these big contests, and the richest person in town would be asked to fund it, a bit like the Eurovision Song Contest. And everybody hated having to fund it. If you asked to fund it, it was kind of compulsory. The other option was you could fund a warship. So you could either fund this, it's like, going around here and saying you're going to fund for the entire, town. Everybody's going to be funded. You're going to pay for the director, the actors and everything. And so they put these 3 tragedies on, and the best would be given an award. But what's interesting is that they had the chorus of 12 people, and they'd always come from the audience, and because it represented the people. And audiences would spend their time talking to each other. So if you look at Antigone, which is about a very stroppy 13, 14-year-old girl going against the king, and it would be if you were in the audience, you'd say, I wouldn't have my daughter speak to me like that, would you? And it was consolidating morals, ethics, everything. And as television and film, it works best when it gives something for the audience to do, when it gets them thinking actors.
Excellent. So how long has Thinking Actors been going now?
10 years.
And where do you want to take Thinking Actors?
I have been thinking about this recently. We're going to expand. I'd like to bring in more practitioners. I think we are going to have to run more classes, actually, because of the numbers. But it's a joy. It's such a joy.
So is there a waiting list to get on?
There is a waiting list,
right.
yeah. And I'm very grateful for it. I'm very grateful for it. Because, what we do is, it's like a membership. So you pay a monthly fee, and then after 4 months, I will film a free show reel for you. And, to standard, if you're ready to have something filmed. So every 4 months they film. We film more or less every week in class, and that footage is sent through for personal evaluation. And I've had some people with me for 3 years.
So if I was to come to one of your classes tonight, what would I expect? What would happen on the first night?
It's at the moment we're working on some monologues at the moment, but it would be often a typical class would be a scene study from film and television. So we would it's always contemporary film and television that we look at. Try and facilitate the casting types of people as well with different scenes. But it's a scene study, breaking it down, understanding what good script writing is. As an actor, you need to know that. So I don't talk about objectives as much as I do of transformation, because what casting need to see, what an actor needs to do is, who am I at the start? Who am I at the end? How have I changed? I did this storyline workshop for Emmerdale. And the lady who's in charge of storylining, I think she's executive producer now, of Emmerdale, she gave me some brilliant advice. And because I was doing this A story, they have an A, B, C, D story in a soap. So your A story has 8 scenes per episode. Your B has 5, your C has 3, and then it goes down to 2 and 1. I'll give you an example. Your E story, your D and E story would be you go in and you come in as a character, and there's a lad playing with a box of matches and throwing them all over the place, and you go, stop playing with those matches. That's the scene. 2 months later, the house catches fire. That becomes the A story. And so it's, where's the transformation in a scene? In a scene, it's, I go in to confront my worst enemy only to find out it could be my new best friend. Transformation. And then the real one for casting is emotional transitions. I'm having the best day of my life. Knock, knock. I'm afraid your cat's been run over. The moment when that changes and shifts. And so, yeah, it's... sorry, have I got off?
Well, so I'm your classic. So, and you're going through these scripts, and then after a certain number of weeks, you film them together.
No, we have a very fast pace in classes. So we look at, because I want actors to be instinctive. I think there's too much overthinking. You know, when you get tapes, I don't know what to do with this casting thing. I don't know what to do with it. Be instinctive. Trust your instincts with it.
Find your X factor.
You know, where's the transformation? Where are the emotional transitions? Now do it truthfully to you, you know. And so we study that. Maybe we'll look at a script for an hour and 45, something like that. They often learn scripts and then bring them in the following week, and then they're filmed, and then they get the script for the following week. But I think they find that having the footage is really useful. It's just for personal reflection. And as I said, for free filming as well.
So you'd go over the footage with them and you'd say, oh, that was quite good, or this.
Yeah. We have an exercise where they have to submit a self-tape, and they get, in fact, I did that last month. They got quite detailed feedback. I try and make it fun. I think the classes have got it. They are fun, actually.
You've got to enjoy it.
You've got to enjoy it. A director's job, you know, is to put everybody at ease. It's not to stress them out. I don't think you can act if you're stressed.
So once I've been with you for a couple of weeks, how do I develop with you and with thinking actors? I mean, do I stay with you just for a few weeks, for a few months?
Yeah, I've had people with me for 3 years, and what I'd say is it is like a membership, and it's about, you know, being ready more than anything. Different, you know, casting types thrown at you to really explore where you land as an actor. But it's about being ready. If you were going to the Olympics, you couldn't sit eating chips, watching telly. You'd have to get out there and run. Mm. And it's a bit like that with acting. You can't, you know, it's also about being with other actors. There's so many hidden curriculum aspects of it. You know, working with the other actors and different talents, and
because you play off each other.
Yeah, and that happens in real life. You're put with people that you've not worked with before, etc., etc., and just being ready and honing your craft, honing the craft of acting. It's a very lonely business. People think, you know, oh, it's all, you know, but it's not. You're at home rehearsing. You often don't have a soundboard. As in somebody that, you know, critical. I've just done something on casting type, and I've sent them. I have this list of things to consider casting type where you land. And the instruction is, please do not give it to family. Go up to a stranger and ask them to do it, but don't give it to family. Because if you give this sheet to family, what they do is they go through and they go, you can do all of those. You know, it's like, no, you can't. Yeah. The secret of acting is knowing what you don't do and what you're really good at. You know, the solicitor role, the teacher role, the student role. And so my younger actors, for instance, they're not going to be cast as the judge, for instance, or the senior police officer, but they could be cast as a detective at 23. I asked a friend of mine and they met that. Is that too young to be a detective?
I don't know, I suppose it's all down to life experiences, isn't it? Yeah.
It is just about keeping ready, you know, going on the race, being part of it, honing your skills, exploring. I think the byproduct as well is to have that confidence in approach, not panicking about things. I worked with an actor, and I won't mention the series actually, but she was in a very established BBC series for many, many years. And she got the part when she was young. And the series was cancelled after many years. And she's still young now, but not as young as she, and her confidence had gone, absolutely gone. And I said, do you keep your self-tapes? And she said, no, I can't look at them. And I said, but you should, because when those moments where you think, can I do this? They become a back catalogue of your work and your casting type and what you do. So you can dip into them and you can have a look at what you do. So you should always keep your self-tapes.
Self-appraise yourself.
When you film something, I've had this happen to me actually. When you film something, there's always that, and it goes out, it's transmitted. You always have that moment of euphoria, that kind of, oh, brilliant. So, 3 days later, there's a massive down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I should have done this differently. I didn't like that. And you become self-critical, and self-criticism can tear you apart. It really can. That's where keeping that sense of what you can do through your self-tapes, through recording monologues, through writing yourself. Actors make good writers because they understand what a good script should be. They do in my class anyway. We're doing an exercise on writing scripts.
I can imagine that would be quite good because it enables you to hone your skill if X number of years later you appraise the same character.
Yeah.
And because you're different, you've grown.
Yeah.
Try and do that same character again and how you would approach it.
Yeah. And it's, as I said, it's a business that requires you to be incredibly resilient, but also understanding that sometimes you might need to take a break and step back. Nothing wrong in that. And find your feet again. And sometimes those parts that you were hoping for won't come along, but they might come along much later in life. When I was in my 20s, it had to happen. And I think that's like a lot of young people. If they don't have a flat in Anco, it's paying $4,500 a month. I'm a disaster, And I think it's just giving people an understanding that things mightn't happen tomorrow, but if they do, you're going to be ready and understand the journey of life and go and live life.
So live for now, but not everything's going to happen now.
It won't happen now. And there'll be lots of disappointments along the way, but the highs will be really good and really positive. And I don't know, what, I might never be back in Coronation Street ever again. They might ask me tomorrow. They might ask me in 2 years. It's a journey, or for something else. I know I enjoy playing that character because it's fun. To me, it's fun. I've made it fun. I've created a backstory and everything.
and so you dip into that and enables you to be the character.
Yeah,
right.
Nobody discusses that with you, but
So before you go on set, are you getting rid of Peter and turning into?
Well, that's where makeup and costume are really important. They really do. The makeup department, costume, they really think about things.
So that gives you the time to go over your lines to yourself and to relax. But say you're just about to go on set, you're behind a door, you're listening to what's being said, you're waiting for your cue.
Yeah.
You're not Peter at that point.
No.
You're your character.
I'm a character. I'm really, really listening. I'm waiting for a cue. The important thing is you relax. Shake the energies out, but you relax because bringing attention unless it's
needed.
Yeah, because you can't be flexible enough to live presently in the scene.
I know it's difficult to teach a thing, but how, if the role requires someone to burst into tears, or the alternative, someone to burst into laughter, how would you? Yeah.
I always thought, I think laughter can be quite tricky to do.
I feel so. It's harder than crying.
Yeah. Let me just set the record straight. I know a number of actors who are really good at saying and cry. Really good. But it doesn't mean to say you can act. It just means you're good at crying on cue if needed. Fantastic. you can dig deep into yourself. Again, this is a Stanislavski thing, but you can do like emotion memory. You can dig deep into yourself and sad times in your life. And
psychologically, that could be damaging, couldn't it?
Well, you know what? If you know something's going to be damaging, you don't do it. I mean, I cannot think of some bad times in my life and get affected by them. Let's tell me counsellor that. But I can't, you know. But what I can use is imagination. So I imagine circumstances or something similar. You know, well, nobody's died that I know, but I knew somebody whose pet died and how it affected them. Or so you take bits from life. Documentaries are really good to source material from. But it's about emotionally connecting with things. You might need to go off and find a space where you just think sad things or play sad music, whatever affects you.
Would that be the same for laughter?
Yeah, a lot of it's to do with breathing, you know, with emotion as well. There are a couple of techniques. It's one of the rare times I've used the word technique is because I normally say tricks, and I have to remind myself they're techniques. They are techniques, but you can do a lot with breathing. You know, about emotion and tightening the diaphragm and how that affects the voice, and you can do. I mean, if they really need you to cry and you can't cry, they bring in the tear stick.
What, hit you with it?
It's like a very concentrated form of Vicks, and the makeup department put it under your eye, and sometimes they put like a drop of glycerin because it's better than water because it rolls down really slowly. But tear sticks are really good. When I was teaching, I've got to tell you this. When I was teaching, his behaviour was blinking awful. And some of the kids would come up and say, "Oh, sir, I've got Vicks in my bag. Why didn't you put some in your eye? And then you can cry and go home." Because Vicks is similar to a tear stick.
All right. Well, I'll have to try that when I'm trying to get someone to be emotional. Is it expensive?
My class, absolutely not. It's £95 a calendar month. And in fact, I saw something the other day. I do online for from £10. But I saw something the other day and it's £375. And it's like, I'm really fair with what I charge. I have overheads. I'm a registered company. I've got insurance, memberships to things. I rent, I hire spaces out all over the place. So I have overheads. And as you know, if anybody paying money, when you're moving money, somebody takes something out of it. So you never get that. But it's I'm going to say it's exceptional value.
And it's in value on yourself because you're investing in yourself.
You're investing in yourself. You're getting ready for something. You're getting ready. And you're touching base with what you do and finding out if you really want to do it as well. I think that's part of the journey, Are you going to cope with the rejection, where you didn't get it or you came close, or are you going to cope with that? That's the joy of getting older. It's hard when you're young. There's no doubt about it. I do worry about the amazing amount of graduates at drama schools.
So are they all acting classes or workshops?
There's acting classes and workshops. So acting classes are more kind of ongoing exploration. A workshop tends to be quite a condensed one-day affair. So I do them at the Birmingham Hippodrome. Trying to find somewhere in Leeds at the moment.
Oh, so you don't just based in Manchester, you do travel?
Yeah, I do. I do a tour. In fact, before COVID, I used to go up to live theatre in Newcastle. That was a lovely, lovely space. There is always a shortage of space in this city, in Manchester. There's always a shortage of good space. My rule is I will not put actors anywhere where there's lino.
You don't like the sound or feel of it, which is
I think they deserve a nice space to work in.
Carpeted.
Well, yeah, yes, a little bit of varnish maybe and stuff, but they need that nice space. Yeah, we have nice spaces. It's aspirational.
This is where you're going to end up, dear. So that's great. You've told lots about thinking actors there. I believe you wrote a book.
I have wrote a book.
All right.
It's taken a long time, I'll tell you. I actually started it about 5 years ago, and then I got waylaid with various acting projects, and I did a lot of lecturing work. And so I kind of put it on the back burner. And then my brother...
Your twin brother?
My twin brother, competition. He wrote a book.
Are you identical twins?
I don't think so, but then most twins would say that.
Who's the better looking one?
Me. Oh no! Edit that out. That's awful. That's terrible.
Is that the phone I can hear? Someone's dialing in now. Is it your brother?
But he wrote a book called The Frazzled Freelancer about his career as a freelancer. Because he's a showrunner for American anything confrontation in the 90s. Jenny Jones show. He produced Top Model, all of those big shows, and so he wrote a book called The Frazzled Freelancer. And he said, "Well, it's going to come out." I thought that's an incentive for me to get it finished. And
sibling rivalry. If you can do it, I can.
It was, and I'd arranged to go away for this. I do like the summer, so I'd arranged to go away, and I was in Spain for the summer. I went to Valencia, and I finished it in Valencia.
Oh, right.
And I thought, right, it's ready.
So what can we find in your book?
Everything. This book is really good for students of acting, people who have left after their degree, or the stuff that they're not told that they need to know. It's quite concise, and it's in a really understandable style. It's been put together to really facilitate either new actors or actors who've left the business for a while and are returning. And it's about self-taping. It's about your social media, what you look for in a script, how to create character, how to connect with character.
So it's something they can reference as they grow in their career.
Yeah.
They can just dip in and out. They don't have to read it from page one to page.
It's a quick read.
Right.
And they're going to be so engrossed by what I've put in this, they will want to read it all.
And where can they find your book?
It's on Amazon. It's the Thinking Actors Guide, Amazon, and it's available in download and paperback and hardback.
Should we sign that one and then we can give it off to the parade? Yeah, but we'd have to come up with a question. What question would we ask the viewers to win the booklet?
Who is the person I most admire?
That's excellent. So you heard that, ladies and gentlemen. The first person that can write in with who is the person that Peter most admires in the industry, and you will receive a signed copy. That's great. How do you keep sane in this mad world?
I think, I mentioned this a bit earlier actually, but do you know what? I'm really good at managing my time. And I really am now really careful about just the irony of it is that when I started, it was really difficult to find somebody's phone number, somebody's address, to connect with people. There was no social media. It was really difficult. It was almost like the magic circle of trying to break into things, finding out who does what. I was always glued onto, the title captions at the end of TV shows, which were nice and slow, and you could pick up on who directed and produced and researched. And so it's really difficult to get people's contact details, etc., phone number. Everybody's reachable. And just because you're reachable doesn't mean to say it's either convenient. You might be focusing on something else. I actually quite like downtime. And when I mean downtime, nothing. Somebody said to me that I was working with, "What are you doing over Christmas?" And I went, "Nothing."
So we're going back to this burning house now. Don't contact me at all.
I really, nothing, I'm doing nothing. And that might be, I just want a moment of silence, and I don't want to be answering things. And you asked me earlier, actually, a bit of a segue this about what advice would you give to actors? It's be more resourceful. Be more resourceful. When I was driving down here, I have, for legal reasons I have to say, I have, my messages come up on my...
It was hands-free.
Yes, hands-free. And a message came up, and somebody said it was one of these network groups, and somebody had put on it, I'm running this script reading event, blah blah blah, and it's at this address. So they gave the address in the feed, and then the next message that came through was, can you give me directions? Now I refuse to answer those type of questions because there's people that are systematically helpless. They throw everything on it, and it's very tiring if you get involved. So advice really is not to be needy as an actor. Don't be needy. Be resourceful. So it's about protecting my time, and I don't have to get back to people that email me instantly. And I am trying to have the weekends off. At the moment, I'm trying to have Wednesdays.
You said Wednesday was the best day to get to.
I know, because I'm off.
Okay.
It's my new day, Wednesday.
So you enjoy yourself. What's your favourite film? Do you go to the cinema? Do you go to the theatre?
Not as much as I should do. Go to the theatre quite a bit, actually.
Do you have a favourite director or writer? Or?
Do you like a good thriller? I appreciate a good script, a good story, and good casting. And same with theatre.
So are you a nightmare to go to the theatre show with? Could you be constantly analysing it, or would you?
No, take it as it is.
Right.
Take it as it is.
You allow it to wash onto.
Yeah. I like the. It's like if I go to the cinema. I'm not a fan of people eating in theatre or cinema. It just really annoys me. I guess it's like that silence thing, but and I don't like people sat next to me really in the cinema. Quite like my space, so I can just focus on the world.
Elbow room. Peter, who would you like to hear on the next podcast?
I think you need an agent.
Oh.
Because an agent would let you know exactly what they do. And so all actors across the United Kingdom and beyond can take a sigh of relief knowing that they're working damn hard for them. My agent would be good to get on. Sam Simmons at Pip Talent, Pride in Performance. But yeah, I think an agent would be quite useful because they're in the middle of things in a way, the middle of the production company, the middle of the actors. They sit somewhere in the middle of that relationship and how they build relationships with casting and networks. Because not everybody gets casting breakdowns. My agent gets all the soap casting breakdowns, all sorts, theatre, musicals, everything. But not everybody gets everything.
Who is most useful or helpful for actors? Is it the agent or is it the various people throughout an actor's career?
Who's that? Oh,
apart from a good accountant.
There's a good, who's the most helpful? I think everybody contributes to something. Everybody, if you haven't got an agent, actors panic if they don't have an agent. When you do your tapes, you just say self-representing. And it's not a negative criticism. And you're not going to be judged any less than somebody who's representing. Just be careful because he might try and rip you off. But so that concept of agents is so important. But I think acting coaches are coming into their own as well, more and more. And accent coaches. I know a really good accent coach actually would be good. Graham Eaglesham, Accents for Actors. I think he's in Scotland actually. I'm never too sure where he is, but he's really good. But yeah, it's everybody. I think the important thing is that you don't sit there smoking cigarettes and wait for the phone to ring in 1974. You've got to be proactive, So reach out to, go to an acting class. Make sure they're qualified. Make sure they've done stuff. Make sure that they're, they can walk their talk. That's important. Yeah, check people out.
Think what you're going to get from them and how they're going to help you.
Yeah.
Because the actor is the final product.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a tough business. There's no denying it. It's about finding out your truth, connecting with what you do. Don't be judgmental about stuff as much on performance. If you get a recall, if you're in a room and there were other actors and they were auditioning, it's so easy. This is how insecure people tend to be. If you were auditioning for the same role as me, and we were in a room, and I overheard you going through your scene, and I was up for the same part, I might think, you're doing something that's so right. It's really good, and I've got it wrong. I've got it wrong, completely wrong. And all my intuition, all my faith within what I was doing and my truth goes, because I've seen it's a natural human instinct, I think, to compare sometimes. And
this is why I was surprised when you said there's no competition.
Yeah, there isn't.
But you're competing with other actors to get the role.
You could argue it's not really competition per se. You've been selected because what you do is interesting. So every time you're in front of casting or you're asked to do a tape, they haven't thrown a net out into the North Sea and see what comes in. They've actually really narrowed it down already because they like your truth. And so you will always be different than other people. And so there really isn't that competition. There's just difference.
So as an actor, you've submitted your self-tape and then you get a recall or a pencil and you go to an actual
Not always, no. Sometimes you can be cast direct off the self-tape.
All right. So you don't have to actually play up to the producer, director, writer?
No. And casting, what they do is they draw up a short list of people that's right. That short list is then presented to the director and the producer. It's often the director that makes the choice. So they choose who gets the part.
Because they've got the vision.
Yeah.
They've worked with the writer.
And also they like what you've done. Right. They like what casting have presented to them as a choice of maybe 4 or 5 actors. I know that for Hollyoaks with Channel 4, a lot goes to executive level as well, for final say as to who gets the part. But it's just keeping in on the practice of the craft is what's important, and it's not a race.
So, how do you feel about AI in the industry? It's a big thing right now. It's everywhere.
With voiceover, a big concern. You can still spot it just on feature films. I think Equity are onto it, actually. And I think I'm almost right in saying this. I read it, so I don't know whether it's true or not, but I think the UK is one of the few countries without any legal protection at the moment for AI.
So voiceover, radio voiceover, or
voiceovers, capturing image. There's a big concern of when you're on set, capturing people's images and using them. Where's it going to land? I think what I do see a merging of AI, and I do with live action. So I think there's some really strong possibilities in the world of theatre. In terms of acting, I think to get that human essence, I think they're always going to need real people.
So, because you can imagine a future film where you'd be playing against the Hollywood greats from the black and white days.
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
How would you feel about that on green screen when you're talking to a tennis ball or something?
I mean, you can do, on bog standard editing, you can do all sorts. I've filmed people against really rough backgrounds, and we changed it completely, put them in a courtroom and done, and so how do I feel about, sorry, what was that?
Because you touched on people's images being used and potentially images of actors that are long dead. Yeah. How would you feel if you were placed in AI?
It depends, if people are being paid and they've gone through the legal routes. So if you drop dead and then all of a sudden people wanted to resurrect you as an AI, as long as your estate was receiving some gratitude for that. But it's when people start picking things, it's like photographs. People copy, cutting, pasting of things and not paying the photographer or crediting the photographer. If you look at YouTube's really good at analysing sound waves and identifying within seconds, milliseconds, as to whether that's an original or a copy of something. And we need more of that to flag up AI and how it's being used.
So do you see it as being detrimental to the industry? Do you worry about it?
I think it could be a useful symbiotic relationship between the two with real actors and imagery. It could be used to speed up production processes and keep budgets down. I think that's where it's really coming from, keeping the budget down.
Because you worry, because you mentioned voiceover actors, but you also worry about writers, perhaps. Their work being not needed because AI can...
I mean, at the moment, what it's really good for is as a starting point, So, if you've got like an idea of something, it can help with a storyboard or something. And, it can help you visualize a product. But it needs that human touch. It needs human oversight. And the same with performance. I think it will always need that human performance. And as we become, I think society in the past 20 years has become quite, especially young people, to be honest, not always reading situations correctly. I put it that way. Not always understanding or connecting with people the way that previous generations have been able to do.
Social intelligence.
Emotional intelligence. And I think it's got its place in helping people. But I don't, will it affect actors positively? I think there's room for that to happen, because I do think we need human connection.
So you're optimistic. Nature's come through it. You're not worried about it at all. You think it's going to be aided as a tool, but it's not going to be... You're not going to be replaced.
Selfish. I don't think replacement. No, I think people like, I do think people like that human contact. They like to see people. They like to understand people. And the fake is fake, And it's different if they sample something. I've seen a lot of things on YouTube and X that come up where they've taken a newsreader, for instance, a very well-known newsreader, and made them. I've got shares in this company, and it's about, and those type of things they need to clamp down on.
Yeah.
As a country, we're not the politics. It's not good at clamping down on.
I always say to people, once you've been digitised, anything can be done.
Anything can be done, yeah. And I know that Equity are onto that. They're looking at it, the Actors Union, about capturing people's images on set. I signed a contract once. What was it for? Well, it was for this travel show, probably in the 90s. And I think that the words in the contract was, your likeness in perpetuity in this media and media yet to be discovered. And I thought, well, that's a lock-in.
Mm-hmm. Peter, I'm a headshot photographer. Do you like having your headshot taken?
It's such a pressurized day, and it's such a pressurized day because they mean so much. It's about casting type. It's about the approval of my agent runs through everything, and it's just got to work. It's got to work. I must admit, I don't believe in going back to the same photographer, because everybody has their own style. So I always go back to somebody else. With a different style to zhuzh things up a bit. But it can be quite, not traumatic, but these are your calling cards, they are, along with your show reel, your spotlight page. They've got to work.
So when you go to a portrait session, do you take a lot of clothing with you? And do you think of that, I'm going to play this style, that style?
I told you about this in the acting class, actually. Shall I tell you how you can spot a bad agent? This is a big tip, this. You can spot a bad agent because when you go onto their website and look at the actors they represent, there's no homogeny in the headshots. And it's a right bric-a-brac. And you can spot a bad agent because they've allowed actors to do character. I've seen people with blinking hats on and things and character types, and you don't do that. You are essentially a sense of it's got to be you, and nothing that defocuses from that. My agent always says you need 3 shots. She's really good, my agent. You need a smiling shot, a half smile, and I know something you don't.
Oh, that's a good one. I like that one.
Thinking actors.
So could you do that face for me? I know something that you don't.
Try not to laugh. Let me try not to laugh because I'm a terrible giggler over things. No, I'm not. I'm going to laugh.
Oh, right. Excellent.
Sorry, that was a bit angry looking at that. I don't think that's right very well because I'm half laughing. But yeah, it's such an important day, headshot day, and you've got to feel right, You've got to feel, you've got to have a right headspace to do it. Definitely, it's hard.
So have you had anyone, an actor, come to one of your classes and they don't like being on camera? When they then look at the rushes for something that you've practiced.
Oh yeah,
and they're too self-conscious about.
Yeah, that's normal. I think it's normal to be self-conscious. Don't let them see the monitor, for God's sake. It's like it's normal to be self-conscious. And then again, it's like you reach a point where you go, I've got no control over this, and it's quite liberating. I cannot control this. That's the way I look. Unless I go to Turkey and have this done and that done, this is the way I look. And so. Yeah, it's quite a journey to get past that. I think what's really good is when you do something and you don't recognize yourself. You look at the character and not yourself. And when you separate those two, it's been an okay job.
You hit the mark then.
Yeah.
Excellent. Right, Peter, that's been great. Thank you for this. It's been a lovely podcast. It's been great chatting to you.
It's been a pleasure. Really enjoyed chatting to you. I hope I've not waffled too much.
No. I'm sure the viewers and the listeners are going to love this. It's been great. You give us lots of tips. And I will contact the people you've mentioned to see if they'd like to come on the show. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Entertainment Video Podcast. You can help support this video podcast by making a donation at Buy Me a Coffee, which is www.buymeacoffee.com/James Video Podcast. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel and let me know who you would like to see on a future Entertainment Video Podcast.